What up?
Sup.
Hey, it's the main man. How you doing, Will?
Have you guys heard of a show called
Straight in with it.
Better Call Saul? I hear it's gonna be big. It's pretty good.
It's on the up and up, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
That's with that Saul guy. Everyone keeps saying he's a good man, but I don't get that.
I've never heard of that, but I've heard of Better Call Saul, which is a SpongeBob spin-off with the fish.
Why are you coming in and shouting about Better Call Saul?
What do you mean?
I missed?
Will just came in here.
I don't know. I was just watching it.
Is it good?
It's amazing. Sorry,
Yeah,
putting words in Will's mouth.
Yeah, I was gonna say let Will speak because you're a simp.
Well, I watched it a while back, and I watched a couple episodes, and I didn't. Sorry, I need to shut down all this stuff that's distracting me. And I gave it a couple episodes, and I wasn't feeling it at the time. And then I read so much like good stuff about it. I was like, well, maybe I just need to get through these couple episodes, and then it'll really hook me. And it has. It's good. I like it.
That was our pandemic show. Everyone has like a pandemic show, I feel, that they just binged. And it wasn't finished at the time, but we binged, I think, like 3 or 4 seasons of Better Call Saul back to back.
Yeah.
That and Tiger King, obviously, because everyone watched Tiger King.
Tiger King was the moment.
Yeah, everyone watched that.
I had one pandemic show. I just became a all-consuming hole for media.
Oh yeah,
I just watched a bit of everything.
Pandemic was Tiger King and Animal Crossing. That was people.
Oh yeah,
it was all tigers in one way or another.
Oh yeah, because the joke was Nintendo organized it. COVID
I was talking to Suds the other day about that, about like just the absolute perfection of lineup that was global pandemic into Animal Crossing. I was saying like, everyone's like, oh, Bill Gates this or whatever. It's like, keep your eye on Nintendo, man.
Yeah,
they've got stuff.
They got away with it.
They got completely away with it.
Do you know what would be funny if it was Doom who actually caused the pandemic, but they didn't get it? It was like, darn it, we did this, but Animal Crossing stole our thunder.
They took Animal Crossing took the fall. It was actually Doom.
You just know for a fact that as soon as all the pandemic started, the Animal Crossing devs were just like, oh no, yes, we're gonna make millions. Literal millions.
And then they didn't put in the froggy chair until like a year later.
Yeah, they could have doubled their revenue if they had just started with that.
Or even just like put it in like straight away. Like people were crazy about that stupid chair.
Like, okay, I was kind of like going along with it because I thought the conversation would change. But what is the froggy chair?
So the froggy chair is it's a chair that like has a frog face on it that people were obsessed with. I think someone did a meme about it, and then it was like, oh, everyone just wanted froggy chair.
I'm finding it. This chair. If you can see it, is this
they finally put it in. Yeah, that is the chair.
It looks like a chair that like a high chair that a 2-year-old would sit in at dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And people go livid for this.
There was obviously someone had mentioned that they were obsessed with Froggy Chair, or someone did a video on it or something, and then it became like everyone was obsessed with Froggy Chair.
It was Laura booted Animal Crossing the other day for the first time in ages, and looking around like her island and all the rooms that she's made, it was like, wow, you went really hard on this when it came out.
Oh, Laura has my favorite quote where you said in my anime section that like, oh, Laura called me a dolphin. I was like,
yeah,
because you were like, what, you partly wailed on Honkai Star Rail, and I was like, oh my god, that's the funniest shit. Well, never heard that before.
So I didn't know that either, but that's a real term. That's not like.
Is it?
Yeah, it's apparently a dolphin is someone that just dips their toes in. It's like, well, I won't commit to £200 worth of pulls for my favorite anime girl.
That's rubbish. We can do better than that, because there's the whales, and then what's those little nibblers that like clean them?
Oh,
you're one of those.
The little cretins that hang onto the side.
Yeah, like minnows. What are they called? No, they're not barnacles. Yeah. The little feeding fish.
I know exactly what you mean. They just cling to the side. They're like, oh, please let me lick your skin. Oh, delicious.
Is the Rumours?
Remora. Yeah, you're a Remora.
That's
it's
that's
Remoraid,
that's
like
that's a Pokemon.
Oh, hold on. Suckerfish. There you go. That's much better. That's perfect. You're a suckerfish.
That's a depressing life, isn't it? I am a suckerfish. I suck nutrients off of the skin of bigger animals.
Yeah.
Have you seen, like, there are those certain fish and things that just live on the bottom of the ocean that have, like, no eyes or anything. They just sit there and they just eat the shit from other fish. Like, what kind of life is that?
I saw a tweet today which was like, do you ever think that crabs look at fish and go, are they flying?
That's really good.
That's really funny.
Well, imagine if you were just walking down the road and some dude was just above you in the sky. You'd be like, what the fuck?
Just going about his business.
This makes no sense. So yeah, people that dip their toes into gacha games are the shit on the bottom of the sea that eat all the crap.
Here's the thing, though, right? If you're doing your dailies and everything every day, you aren't dipping your toes in, you know?
Yeah, but that's...
He means monetarily.
Monetarily, yeah. That's also what I tell myself, Sam. I know what you're saying, but I have to tell myself this so that I don't think I'm addicted to an anime waifu gacha game. Because I'm better than that, you know?
You want to be a dolphin. You want to be like, you want to be like the... What's the biggest whale? Is it the sperm whale?
It's Quikwix.
Shut the fuck up.
God damn, you get him every time.
Every time. It's so easy.
It's brutal.
I hate it here.
Welcome to the Game FourCast, everybody, our weekly little gaming podcast where we get together and chat about everything that we've played and all the new news for the week. My name is BottlerWorks. My name is also Josh. I'm here with Olive Meister Will.
Fuck, I took a drink of water.
You knew you were coming. You knew you were coming.
Sorry, hello everybody.
Quick, Steve.
Hi, my name is Steve, and I am your father.
And Sammeh.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm also known as Sam.
Let's jump straight into this. Right, we're gonna start off with Zelda. Obviously, it's like hot new stuff, right? Got to get it in early so people don't click away 2 minutes into the video. I was talking to Steve and Sam a little bit about this before, like how we're going to go about this, because obviously people are still quite new, things like that.
Yeah, this is really fresh.
This is very fresh, and it's kind of, I think for a lot of people, it was like a mysterious game as well. People were like, yeah, it's on top of Breath of the Wild, but what is it? So we talked about it, and this is going to be a spoiler warning. We're going to talk about basically what we've played so far, because I was thinking like we could tiptoe around it, but at the same time there's so much cool stuff that I've seen, and also Steve is at almost exactly the same part as me.
So this is like mechanical spoilers, less story spoilers?
It's going to be a little bit of story spoilers.
Both.
Yeah, there's 4 main areas of the game that you go to.
And they push you towards one, specific one at the start. So.
Yes, and we've both done that one area, which is the top left of the map. So if you've done the top left of the map, I'll call it top left of the map right now before we say what it is and stuff. But if you've done that, you're fine. Everything other than that, like, we haven't done. So, yeah, we'll go from there. And there's timestamps always in the YouTube version if you're watching YouTube. So if you don't want to see this bit, you can skip forward to the next section. Yeah,
if they're on audio.
This is your last spoiler warning.
Yeah,
click off now.
Last spoiler warning.
If they're audio, what, you guys gonna wrap this up in like 5 minutes, right?
You can edit in like a little.
Don't make work for me, Steve.
You could do it.
We normally
right?
talk for about like half an hour ish. The background of the video, which is also in the audio version, will change. But yeah, you can about half an hour. I reckon we can wrap this up in. So, yeah, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. This game is insane.
Fantastic.
It is probably one of the best games I've played in such a long time.
Elden Ring, don't know her. Tears of the Kingdom is the game of the decade.
Well, it's like, okay, so just to like broadly say why I'm enjoying this game so much, I think it's the first game I've played in a very long time that actually feels like an adventure.
Yes.
It's not like guided, go here, do that, do this, here's your story, go do this. It just feels like you have an overarching story of what you know you have to do, but it's just like, go do the thing. And you can
I like that.
yeah, it's so good. So let's try and, I guess we'll try and structure this a little bit, Steve. So do you want to sort of describe the first little part of the game where you're on the island in the sky?
Yeah. So like when you boot up the game, it just like immediately shoves you in, and you got a little bit of story cutscene, blah de blah, and you are. Which first of all, just want to say like already feels like the story is much more interesting.
Yes, there's a
than
lot more going on.
Breath of the Wild. Like Breath of the Wild, it felt like, oh yep, you don't know what's happening, go. Whereas this is like an actual like little bit of build up to the story. So yeah, that's interesting. But yeah, immediately you find yourself on Tutorial Island, which is up in the sky this time.
Yeah, I want to preface all this really quickly with this is like full on a sequel, and it starts you off with maximum life, maximum stamina, as if you 100%ed Breath of the Wild, and then the story. I don't know how a better way to put it, but it Metroid Primes you, where it's just like you have you're maxed out, and then something happens in the story early on, and it's just like you get zapped, you lose everything, back to scratch, back to level 1, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. You'd be like, why am I? This is a sequel. My Link was completely OP and busted. The end of Breath of the Wild. Why is he a baby again? So they do a really good job of bringing it around to a new start point.
Mm-hmm.
Can I just jump in on that before we go deeper on?
Yeah.
People always rag on games when they don't have a good excuse for why you're not super powerful anymore.
Yeah.
But ultimately, people need to understand, if you just start the game full power and have no reason to go around and power up, the game is boring, right?
You have it depends, because some games can build on it quite well. I think the issue of, if it is, because this game is, obviously quite similar to Breath of the Wild, if you did just start this game with all the stamina and hearts of the first game, it wouldn't work. The game just would not work. Yeah, so you can't build on top of it.
I feel like that translates to most of these style of games as well. Like, surely if you just played a Metroid game and just started with all of the power-ups and therefore had no power-ups to get ever...
It's funny you mentioned that, because I'm about to talk about a game which basically does that, and you pick up basically exactly where you left off in the previous game, and it works just fine.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to hear about that, but I'm going to say, I'll still defend my point that game companies should not have to come up with a reason for you not to be full power, have no reason to go power up in these style of games.
I mean, it's a bit of a tired trope at this point, but I don't. It
depends as well, though, because in the case of this game, it's like all your power is zapped. Oh no, you're gonna have to go do a whole bunch of cool shrines again. I'm like, fine. Give me an excuse.
That's fine.
Give me a fucking excuse. I'll do them for free.
Yeah.
But so you're on Sky Tutorial Island.
Mm-hmm. And and it's, to me, I thought this Sky Tutorial Island was a very much on rails compared to the previous Breath of the Wild Tutorial Island, which felt like you just go. But apparently, I was talking with my brother, and he said that he's watched like 20 or so people do this island, and they've each done it in a unique, different way.
Really? Because I thought it was really linear, this island.
No, yeah, that's what I thought as well. I thought it was very much like go from point A to point B to point C. But no, apparently it can be done in multiple ways. But this, of course, Tutorial Island kind of like introduces you to like go get your power ups in the shrines and stuff.
Yeah.
And when you first get them, it's like, because like you don't have the previous ones from Breath of the Wild, and they're totally new. So you've got they've advertised these previously, but you've got Ultra Hand, which is like Magnesis from the previous game, except for this lets you move anything and it lets you stick it as well.
This is the big build mechanic that a lot of people are aware of in this game. So it's Magnesis in the old game was just pick stuff and move it around, whereas this is exactly the same, but now you can stick stuff together.
Yeah, and then you've got Ascend, which lets you like just go through roofs and pop out the other side, or through caves and whatnot, which is very helpful.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Fuse, which lets you basically any weapon or whatnot, you can fuse it to like a material or another weapon, which which is actually like a big part of this game, because like previous Breath of the Wild, a lot of people didn't like the weapon breaking mechanic.
Yeah.
And in this game, very quickly you find out that like, oh, all the weapons kind of like have rusted and decayed in Hyrule. So all the weapons kind of feel bad, but the idea is that you fuse them, like and then you don't care about like, oh, I've got this powerful weapon and I don't want to use it. It's because it's like, no, it's a weapon that you've just stuck a boulder on the end of. You know,
it's really good because it changes. I feel like when I play Breath of the Wild, my weapon inventory was always like, okay, here's my kind of fire weapon, here's my specific lightning weapon, here's my ice weapon, here's my wind weapon, and like here's my strong weapon and things like that. And I always felt like I had the slots taken. Whereas in this, I feel like in this game, I feel like you always have just basic. There's always like sticks and stuff around you, or there's busted swords or things like that, and you can always just keep the materials on you. And as opposed to keeping stuff weapons in preparation, you build weapons to fit the scenario that you currently find yourself in.
Yes,
which
and there's
is really
always
interesting.
Like, if you're like in a cave, there'll be like boulders around to like help you smash rocks and stuff. Or if you're in a forest, there'll be like stones on the ground to make an axe, like sword axe or something.
So if you suddenly come across an enemy that's weak to lightning, you haven't got to be like, oh shit, where's my lightning weapon? Oh, I haven't found one in the game yet. What am I going to do? I'll just do what I can. It's like, no, okay, open up my inventory. What have I got that will help this scenario? I can put like a lightning lizard horn on my staff and make a lightning spear, or I can attach.
So it's like all the gumph you're collecting.
All the gumph. Some is more useful than others. But every single thing has, I think it's called a fuse rating.
Yes, a fuse rating and an effect.
Yeah, so the fuse rating is just the number. Every base weapon has a number. It's just like its damage, just represents its damage. Yeah. And every material has a fuse number, and you add those two numbers together. That's what the fused damage will be. But also, the material will add some kind of an effect. It'll be a good effect or a bad effect. It can be like random stuff. So, for example, you can put meat on arrows, and you can use that to lure enemies and animals to certain places and do things like that.
And that's the thing, is I think that's where it's really shining for me, is the bow and arrow. Because previously it was like you had your arrows, you had your fire arrows, your bomb arrows, and it was like, oh, you'd run out of like arrows very quickly. But in this game, they just like throw arrows at you, and then you use the materials, which they vomit these materials.
Yeah, you get so much stuff. That's like, and it's like you say, it's always random stuff as well that you pick up, and you're like, what the fuck is this? I don't know. I'm going to stick it on my sword and see what happens. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, that's weird. Not going to do that again. It's just tons of minute by minute little discoveries like that make it really exciting.
There's like a new fire fruit, and they like there's so much of it, and it's like, oh, I just keep getting arrows, and then anytime I need fire, it's like, oh, I've got this fire fruit that I can either throw or put on an arrow to like get some distance on it.
Yeah,
and it's just fantastic. It's like, and this is kind of like, at first when you hear about it, you're like, oh, that's not what I wanted. I wanted no weapon durability. But this kind of like, when you play with it, you're like, oh, I see. They've fixed the issue of the weapon durability like problem, but in their own way. Like, they've made it into a fun mechanic now, rather than just completely removing it. And that's like a lot of what this game is compared to Breath of the Wild is. It's like, it's similar. Like, rather than the Sheikah Slate, you've now got the Pura Pad, which is kind of the same, but they've changed a lot of it, like just slightly to make it fit more what it should have been in the first place.
Right, so let's bring us back around to mechanics, and then we'll get into some more like intricacies. So what did we do? You got Ascend, lets you go through ceilings and stuff above you. You've got the
Ultra Hand,
fuse, which is combining. Ultra Hand is picking stuff up and sticking it. The last one you get is, I can't remember what it's called. I'll Rewind, and you can basically reverse time on anything you use it on. So there's a rock rolling down a hill. You aim it at the rock, and the rock rolls back up the hill. So it's very, very simple in sort of mechanics. But again, so much stuff comes from that. that you can do.
Yeah.
Like, for example, just really quickly, one thing that I did, which there were a bunch of enemies on top of a ramp with a big spiky ball, and they tried to roll it down. So they started rolling it down, and they chased after it, and I rewound it, and it went straight back and destroyed them all. And then I stopped the rewind, and then it was behind them, and it rolled back down the hill again, and it just and it's just
Oh my god!
and you can just rewind, play until they died, just crushing them with their own spiky ball.
It's like these mechanics. There's a lot of just like it feels like it's more freeing, and so you can just have a lot more fun this time.
Yeah, it feels a lot more realized compared to Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild had there was like. The pickup stuff was kind of cool, but also had like create random ice blocks in water, which is like okay, it's cool, but
very
it's very
specific.
Yeah.
You had the bombs, but in this game now they've got bombs, just like as a plant, which you just pick up. You get a load of them, and then you can just like attach them to arrows or throw them.
Yeah, so like we were saying, so bombs are just a material. So you want to put a bomb on your arrow, make a bomb arrow. Fine. You want to attach a bomb to your shield for some reason? Like, you can. It's stupid, but you can. It's just like lots of stuff like that. So, yeah, you finish Tutorial Island, and then you jump down to the mainland, and you land in a little base. You get a little bit of story, sort of setting up, Zelda's missing, whatever. And it says, here are 4 main locations. She's been spotted in these 4 areas. Go to one. Just do what you want. And you're like, okay, cool. So you start wandering, and of the 4 locations that you can go to, I've spoken to about 6 or 7 different people about this. Everyone goes to the top left area first.
They push you in that direction. They're like, we suggest going here first, and then there's another big side quest that pushes you there as well. But so you're kind of encouraged to go there, but even you while making your way there, there's still like a lot of like new stuff that you find along the way. Yeah. And there are some side quests which probably are worth doing beforehand. Like one thing that they very quickly introduced to you is the new towers system, where before it was in Breath of the Wild, it was like you have to climb the towers and your stamina was always an issue, and there's often like monsters around them. And in this game, it's like, no, you just like the towers. The towers are different. They're like human built. So you just like literally open, like you might have a quest to do to open up the bottom, but like you literally just go in the bottom. It shoots you up in the air, and you kind of like scan the area, and then then you can kind of drop down. But that's like it's now like a launching place. And you can kind of like skydive wherever you want, like in that map.
Yeah, because it's worth noting that obviously, as people have seen in a lot of trailers and stuff, is the big change. The whole of Hyrule gets not blown up, but it all gets earthquaked and shifted and changed and everything. And a whole bunch of land mass goes into the sky and comes out of the ground and goes into the sky. And there's always land masses in the sky. Some of them small, some of them absolutely enormous. There's just like a floating orb in the sky. Don't know what that's about, but I'll get there at some point. And your first question is like, how do I get here? Like, I want to see that. How do I do it? Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I guess a question off of that then is, this is all on the same map as the last game. So you mentioned like you finish the Sky Tutorial Island, and then you're back on the ground. Is that like, I guess one, does it feel like substantial enough that this is a whole new game? And 2, what kind of percentage is your like up in the air new stuff down on the ground? Maybe still new stuff, but familiar stuff.
Well, that's the thing is, first of all, it plops you right in Hyrule Field, which in Breath of the Wild, that was like the danger zone where there's like guardians everywhere. So now you're kind of like in this area which you're like, oh, this is like beginner friendly.
Yeah, it's the starter zone now.
Right. And the world has changed. It's weird because like you're in this zone which you're like not used to, but like the perspective has changed enough with the world. Where like I've been to areas where I've been to before, and it's like it's familiar, but it's different enough. Like it doesn't.
Right. Okay.
It feels like enough time has passed in the game and enough has changed where it's like, oh, you kind of recognize some landmarks, but it doesn't feel like you're playing the same game. To me, at least.
And then you have all the landmass, which for me, because Steve played Breath of the Wild, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago or something.
Yeah.
Whereas I haven't played Breath of the Wild since it came out, which was, I think, 6 years ago at this point. So as far as I'm concerned, it's all basically brand new. Because like memory has shifted some of it, and then a lot of it's all new anyway or twisted. There are certain, like Steve says, there are landmarks where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember this. But it's now like a different biome or something, or like what was previously ice is now not, and vice versa, and this, that, and the other. So that's all really cool. And then in terms of scale as well, so you have the entire world. You have all the stuff in the sky, and one thing we haven't touched upon yet either is across the map there are, I think they're called chasms.
Yes.
They're big gaping holes in the floor with red evil shit flying out of it.
Okay.
And you can go down there, and it's pitch black, but it is an entire underground system the same size as the base map.
Oh, right, okay.
So you know like Elden Ring, when you go underground and you're like, what the fuck? Yeah. It's that again.
They've done an Elden Ring.
They've done an Elden Ring.
But to me, what's even great is the underground is pitch black. Like,
literally pitch black.
You cannot see. And you have these new, like, which you get in abundance, but like in caves and stuff, you get these new like flowers, which like you can either throw or touch the arrows. And when you do that, they make a giant area glow.
Yeah.
So like that's how you explore the underground, is you have to kind of like darkness find your way around till you find like these special trees which will light up an area, and it's literally like a circle of area unless you've got the tree like next to it in which it kind of connects the two. But it is kind of like you are like spelunking and exploring this map completely, and it's so fun.
Yeah, and underground there are tree roots, which are kind of like the towers above ground, or like the shrines.
Yeah.
And you go to them, and you can see them. It's like we said, it's pitch black. Besides the light you create yourself, it's pitch black. But you can see these kind of roots from far away, and if you touch one, you activate it. Like lore stuff, whatever, it all like activates, and it illuminates a big area around it, and the map opens, and it illuminates that part of the map as well. So that's what you're supposed to do. You spelunk around in the darkness looking for these tree roots to light up the underground. And from what I've gathered so far, I haven't done much of the underground because it feels like this is the dangerous place. It's like it's pitch black. There's, I think it's called gloom. There's like red evil stuff everywhere that just saps your life if you walk in it. There are mobs down there. I have like 10 hearts at this point. They pimp slap you and you die. It's so dangerous down there. I was walking around. There was something in what I can only describe as like a makeshift tank made out of a few ultra-handed bits glued together, and it just looked at me and shot me and killed me. I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here. This is not where I'm supposed to be right now.
Well, that's the thing is, I've done a little bit more of the underground, and there are like quests to do down there, and I've done some of them, and it is like there's like story. There's actual good story. Like
yeah,
oh, it's great.
But it's really interesting design because it feels like I feel like you can go anywhere you want for the most part. You can but you're kind of you have the main world. The sky, you're kind of limited by the towers you find to shoot up in the sky, and you're also limited by what can you stick together to like fly around and stuff. Whereas the underground, I feel somewhat limited by more rigid mechanics, like maybe I need a bit more hearts, a bit more armor, but nothing is ever stopping me. You can
just go.
Yeah,
well, that's kind of that was like the driving philosophy behind the first game, right? It was kind of just it's up to you.
Yeah, and it still is in this game. Is that you can just do things how you want.
Yeah, it always felt like in the first game, it's like, oh yeah, you go around, you find the shrines, you do the the dungeons. Now it feels like, oh, you've got the main story on the main map, but you've got like these sky areas that you can explore, and then there's the underground. Like it feels like there's a lot more options. Like you're not having fun in this area, you like go do the underground, and it's a different experience, or go do a sky thing, and it's a different experience.
This feels like to me the original ethos of Breath of the Wild completely realized. Like this is what they had. Because Breath of the Wild was already a really good game, but the way this plays, the fact that it's so open-ended, do what you want, make what you want, just tackle things however you want, it feels this is what they had in mind originally. Because, like I said before, it was like, in the first game, you could pick up and move stuff around, and that was kind of cool, and you can make randomized blocks, and that was kind of cool, I guess. But now, all of these mechanics in the new game, they feel like they serve a greater purpose than what they were in the first game. Because everything in the second game, such as making stuff and fusing weapons, it all serves this purpose of, or this overarching gameplay of tackle things how you want to do them. Because there's there are certain things that you remember the Koroks from the first game, the little like little dudes.
I got like shivers from that. That's been a while.
There's ones in this where they still have the ones where they hide under rocks and shit like that. But now what you'll find across the map, there are ones wearing big backpacks, and he'll be stuck. He'll be on his back and he can't move, and he'll go, "Look, I'm stuck. My friend is over there by this green smoke," and it will zoom way in the distance and show like green smoke, and he'll be like, "Can you get me there?" And that's it. So you just, and there's no right or wrong way to solve this puzzle. You just have to get this dude from point A to really far away point B. And there's always millions of ways to do it, but every time you do it, you think of something fun or interesting, or like make a car, make a crane, make a fucking roll him down a hill or something. It's and they're really good in this game because all the shrines as well are based around these new mechanics. So there are shrines to level up your health and stamina, and they all use these new mechanics. And every time you do one, they're designed in such a way that you always feel, at least when I do it, you always feel really smart when you finish it. You've completely done probably what they intended you to do, but you feel like a genius going like, if I stick this to this, I can make a lever, which I can then stick to this, and I can pull, and I've activated this switch and things like that. And
and to me, because of the way that the link abilities and some of the new like interactables, these shrines feel much better than the previous shrines.
Yeah.
And then we haven't even got to the best part, which is the the dungeon.
So it's, if you've kept up with the media coming up to this game, it was no secret towards the end that this game has proper like Zelda dungeons, basically. And as we were saying, the first one that you're led to is in the top left. It's the Rito village.
The bird
people.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yep.
Yeah, and you get there, and there's a big tornado in the sky, basically. And I think the weather's like, it's really cold there. It was quite... Is it sunny in the first game? Is it just like a nice area in Breath of the Wild?
In the first game, it's a nice area, but it's near a snowy mountain. So like that, you do get like cold armor. Cause, in the first game, you had to fight in the sky where it is cold. So
but you get to this area, and they are completely overcome with blizzard. And there's a big fucking ball tornado in the sky, and they're all going like, I don't really know what to do. We're kind of stuck. And you meet this little Rito feather boy, and he wants to go explore it, but his dad's like, nah, you're not allowed. But he goes anyway. So you follow him, and you go, again, you're guided to roughly where you need to go, but you're never told how to get there. It's just like, he's at the top of this mountain. Go to
Good
him.
luck.
Yeah, go to him. So you can go through caves, or you can just scale the mountain, or you can go to another mountain and build a fucking like paper airplane looking thing and just fly over there. You can do it however you want. You get there, and then you start getting there, and what you suddenly see is it suddenly becomes somewhat linear, but it's a very linear path through the sky. So there are all these blocks just sort of floating in the sky, and the little bird dude helps you. He becomes an ally, and he can produce like a gust of wind to help you.
And he fights alongside you.
Yeah, he fights with you as well. But he helps you fly around, and so you start making your way just through the sky. You ascend, which is the go through the ceiling thing. You go up a big like tower, and that kind of starts the whole thing off. And then you're in the sky. It's very cold. There's like gushing wind everywhere. It just looks and sounds great. Like I know it's like, oh, there's switches, but like I had no issues. I thought it looked amazing when I was doing this.
And the thing is that this is quite a long section, and it's not even. I wouldn't say it's the dungeon. This is just the path to the dungeon. And
I thought it was because I knew there were dungeons. I was like, okay, this is the dungeon.
But no, this is just the path to the dungeon. It's so long, and it's kind of like where it's skyblocks in the sky. It's like, oh, if I fall right now, I'm gonna have to backtrack a long way.
I was talking to someone at work about this, and that's what I think made it really special to me when I was going through it. Was the fact that I've played loads of games, platformers, whatever, where it's like you're in the sky or something, or this, that, and the other. But I had this serious moment of realization where I wasn't in a level in a game. I was just traversing this mammoth platforming section in the sky, and if I did fall at any point, like the game doesn't just restart or reset. Like you fall back down to the world. You won't die because you got your glider, but like that's it. You have to be careful because you're literally platforming in the sky. I just thought it was incredible. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Is there not like potential there for losing lots of progress?
That's the thing,
essentially, and just being like, "Fuck this."
I think the game it's not easy, but it is very it's quite forgiving. I think if you were to miss a jump or something, you could probably like glide it back a little bit.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
And there were 2 safety shrines along the way.
Yes,
so you get one very early on, so it's not like it's completely.
Sorry, shrine. Like you can fast travel there, or
yes, you can fast travel there, and
Right. Okay. So it's okay.
Yeah. It's not the worst, but it still would be a pain if you fell down. Like there was like a long stretch of gap in between the 2 shrines and the shrine to the actual dungeon.
Yeah. So you keep climbing, you keep ascending. At this point, I think I'm just doing the dungeon because I'm just like it's taking so long.
Mm-hmm.
And then you suddenly start seeing a bunch of boats in the sky, and the Rito tribe, all the birds, they talk about it a little bit before you go up about how there's like a story about these boats in the sky. I can't remember what they do in the story, but they're just there. But you get them, and then there's a big platforming section with those where you jump off their sails and you go soaring through the sky like super high, and that's where you gain a lot of the height to get to this big ball of like tornado, this big air thing in the sky. And you can't penetrate this big tornado. You have to get above it where there's a gap. And you keep climbing higher and higher.
Classic tornado rules.
Yeah. You keep climbing higher and higher and higher, and then you go inside, and there's another just massive, like boat, like galleon. It's enormous, and that's the dungeon. You land on it, and it says Wind Temple, and it's like, let's go. Like this is now a Zelda dungeon. You have your puzzle rooms. There's enemies around. All your traditional Zelda stuff that you kind of like is all there, and it's just really fun. I wasn't expecting it because it took so long to get there. I thought I was going to go in and there would literally be like a boss arena. But yeah, do you want to talk a bit more about this, Steve?
Yeah. So then you you got the boat. You do your puzzles. You can kind of like it's not a linear dungeon. You can kind of like Breath of the Wild. You can kind of pick and choose like how you tackle it and whatnot. I was gonna say like it's a good dungeon. You kind of have to use your ally, like his special wind ability.
Yeah.
I won't. Don't want to spoil it too much.
Yeah.
But then after you've done all that, like after you've like got like all these mechanics unlocked, then you like do the boss fight, and it's
the boss fight's a really good one. It's without spoiling the boss completely, the whole sort of, you're inside this ball of air at this point, this big tornado ball thing where the ship is. The whole thing is basically filled with, how do you say, like upthrust, just constant upwards air.
Updraft, yeah.
So you can constantly use the glider to gain height or let go to drop back down. And you have this big fight just in midair against this big boss. It's so fucking cool.
And I was gonna say, and it's a cool boss as well. It's not like Breath of the Wild where it's like, oh, it's the same boss you've been fighting.
Yeah, monsters are back. Like we're not doing divine beasts and shit anymore.
Yeah, it's like actual.
It's an actual boss.
Actually, you say that about monsters. All the original monsters from Breath of the Wild are back, of course. They also have a bunch more, and it is so like the enemy variety is so refreshing in this game.
Yeah,
like they've definitely added. Like again, this game is something special. I highly suggest people get on it.
Yeah, and as we said as well, this is like one of at least 4 sections like this. I assume there's going to be more than just what's shown to be the 4. Like I'm so excited just to see what else this game has to show to me, because everything is just so far. It's just I'm so. It's just so good. It's like just so good.
Mechanics good, exploration good, story good. Like just
and it's
definitely worth it.
And it's you talk about all these mechanics in isolation, but it's when everything works together and really sort of clicks is when it's really good. It's when you're doing a fight and mid-fight you whip out your bow and you make a specific arrow that you suddenly realize you need, and you shoot at an enemy and it does extra damage. Or it's you run into a random side quest and they're like, oh, I need... One I found that was really good is there's a guy in a hole and he's stuck in a hole, like a big pit. And he's down there on his own and he has a wagon. And he says, I want to get out of here, but I'm not leaving my wagon. And you look around him, there's a handful of items. There's like a few fans, there's a few hot air balloons, there's some wheels, and he just says, I'm not leaving. I'll get in the wagon, but I'm not leaving without the wagon. So you have to build a way to get this guy out. And it's just little things like that. It's like a puzzle in itself. There's like 1,000,001 ways you can do it. I built some weird contraption that shot fire into 2 hot air balloons on different sides and then activated a rocket to shoot him out at the right angle. It's just like it's just like so much cool things like that you just run into around the map as well.
I think for me, like talking about like each individual mechanic is all well and good, but like even like when like Nintendo would like doing their previews and would talk about mechanics, like I'm not really feeling it. But it's not until you're playing it and you're like, I see why they've done this.
Yeah, you get it. It clicks.
And it's like, yeah, you get it. It clicks. It's a masterpiece of like, because like it's like I mentioned before with like the weapon fusing. You kind of like people like I think wanted like no destructible weapons, but it works. Like every single decision they've made has been an improvement upon Breath of the Wild, and this game feels like the game.
Yeah,
you know,
it's tricky because I don't really know where you go from this besides just building more. What's the word? It's like is it emergent gameplay? I think this is what Zelda is now. Zelda is a whole bunch of mechanics to create emergent gameplay to solve problems however you want.
Yeah.
Because I read an article. Sorry, you go.
Well, because that was another question I had. Was Steve leading up to this was like, not my Zelda. Where's my classic Zelda? But it sounds like you're all on board for this now.
Now that we've got like dungeons and the stories there, like kind of good. I'm like, yes, I do appreciate. Like, I've played every Zelda game previously. I do like the two, like the handheld Zeldas and like the 3D Zelda and stuff. I do hope that like on occasion they'll do like maybe like a remake or like maybe like a side game spin-off. But I'm happy with this game now. I'm like, oh, this is like, and I'm not one for open world games. I fall off them very quickly, but I'm happy with this one. This one is like, oh, this feels like an adventure. Like I'm completely sold on this. I feel like this is probably a good chance to be like game of the decade.
Of the decade, wow. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just surprised to hear you say that, I think.
Well, like, because everyone was like, "Oh, Elden Ring was that," and it's like I played Elden Ring. I was like, "It's okay. I enjoyed my time with it," but yeah, no, this game, this is something special for sure.
Yeah, I think it's like you say, it's the feeling of whilst you're playing it. It feels like an adventure. I feel like I am going about. I am coming up to a set of problems, and I am figuring out the solutions to these problems on my own. It never feels like, I don't know, I guess like sounds really weird, but like less like a game and more like a puzzle solving thing is the part I really like about it, where it's like I know during certain puzzles I can solve them an easy way, but I'm like, can I kind of jimmy this to do it like a weird different way? And a lot of times you can. Which is really good. I like taking the stuff, so like the platforms, the fans, the hot air balloons. I like just attaching stuff in different ways and seeing how they react, because you can get some really like weird interactions. The game does a really good. It sets a really good example where, especially early on, where it's like you can fuse stuff together. It'll introduce, or it'll have enemies come at you with weird fucking weapons that they fused. Because some people might struggle to think of them at the start. Because I was the same. When it's like you can put stuff together, I'm like, okay, I've got like 4 sticks with rocks on them. Like, I'm so smart. But then an enemy will come at you with a shield and a electric fan on it, and it will blow you away. And you'll be like, oh, that's really cool. Or you'll be against an enemy with a sword, but he'll have a fire-breathing dragon head on it, which you get quite a lot of. And it's like a staff that shoots fire, and you're like, oh, yeah. And it does a really good job of sprinkling those throughout the game to be like, if you're less creatively inclined, you can get some cool ideas off it. Because there's lots of cool stuff like that. This game's incredible.
How does it run on the Switch?
It runs.
How does it look and how does it run?
It looks and runs fine. I'm a lot less bothered by it than I thought I would be. I think Nintendo, for whatever reason, are still obviously fairly good, at least with Zelda, at making their own hardware sing.
Yeah.
For the most,
other than Pokemon.
Oh, that's not Nintendo, right? That's Game Freak.
Game Freak.
Yeah.
The frame rate is 30 for the most part. When it dips, I feel like I can see why, if that makes sense.
The dipping, because it's you're the one that's doing it.
It'll be like I'll be fighting an enemy and he'll swing a big fire sword staff. Fire will go everywhere as I shoot a bomb arrow at him, and it'll chug for a second. I'll be like, okay, like there's a lot going on.
You're like, okay, yeah, fair enough.
There's also when you attach a lot of stuff together, and then like you're maneuvering those things around and they hit something or they collide in a weird way, it can like stutter a little bit. But again, it feels like I never feel like, why is the game lagging? I always feel like, okay, I know why. It's because I'm doing either some shit's happening or it's all like popping off basically. Graphically, I think the game looks fantastic. I think this art style still looks great. I don't know if it looks any different to Breath of the Wild.
It's basically the same looking.
Yeah. Still looks very nice. Very sort of painterly art style. How have you found it, Steve?
I found it like just good. I'm not one for like I need the most realistic graphics on my 3090 Ti or whatnot. Like I'm just happy, and I feel like the stylized way they've done it is just good. Like it's even like I don't play games in handheld mode. I've played this one in handheld mode, and it looks good even on handheld mode.
I think Oh, you go. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, I was gonna say I think it's just like a good. Like again, it would be nice if it was like on PC or we had like a Switch Pro or something which was a little bit more better. But for like a Switch game, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like you still like you get lost in the exploration and whatnot.
it's in no way a hindrance to the fun that I'm having. I think it's the best way to put it. It's not going to win any awards, but I'm not like, ugh, I wish it ran better, or ugh, I wish it looked better. It's just like, I think it's very serviceable.
Yeah, I felt the same way about SMT5 though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
until you seen it run at 60 and 120 frames.
Oh, I have no doubt that it will look amazing. This game will look amazing emulated, and it could look and run better. But
it's fine.
It's okay. Fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. I wouldn't dock merits. I wouldn't dock points off of a review for performance or graphics personally.
Okay.
But yeah, I think the way I'm playing right now is I've used my little handheld Switch that you have in game. I've looked at a bunch of cool things. I've pinned them on my map, and next time I play, I'm going to go check out those things, and I can't wait to play more just to see what other stuff is in this game. So,
I might have to get this.
It's a real treat. I think games like this don't come around very often.
The one thing though that I'm not clear about my mind is like, do you need to play Breath of the Wild to get full experience, like the full enjoyment out of Tears of the Kingdom?
Absolutely not. I don't think at all.
But like story wise,
no, I honestly don't know.
I did not care. I played through Breath of the Wild. I did not care about the story whatsoever.
I don't think
it just left I don't even remember it.
You can go into this and they immediately start talking about a race of like people called Zonai and stuff. None of which is really in the base game. It's all kind of new stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
As long as you know what a Link is and you know what a Zelda is, I think you'll be fine. But yeah, do you anything else you wanted to finish with, Steve, or are you all done? I'm done. Personally.
No, I think I'm done. Like I've gushed enough about this game.
Yeah, game's absolutely brilliant. Check it out if you haven't. I mean, I feel like I'm pointless saying that. Most people have probably checked it out. It's pretty popular right here.
Yeah, I saw a weird stat the other day that was like, it's the 8th best-selling Zelda, and I was like, is that a flex? Have there been enough of them that's a really good stat? I feel like that's like middle of the road, right? I don't know.
I saw some stuff saying...
I'm sure it's doing fine.
It's doing really well. I think that's a really good stat. I saw something saying it's currently at least in the UK, it's like in the charts. I think number 1. And it's just estimated to just sit there now for ages.
Yeah.
Like, it's reviewed like extremely well. Like it's up there in like...
Yeah.
One of the best reviewed games of all time.
When the reviews dropped, and it was immediately here's 50 reviews, and the average score across them all is 97 out of 100. I was just in my head, I was just like, you motherfuckers, you've done it again. Like,
I was cynical. I was like, well, new hot game. If someone doesn't give it a good score, people are gonna rage at them.
I was completely different because I really enjoyed Breath of the Wild when it came out. Like, really loved Breath of the Wild. And this having the same like trajectory just sent me through the roof with hype. And I feel completely justified now having played it. Obviously, it could have gone the other way. Could have been like, oh yeah, it's all right. But yeah, it's just been brilliant from what I've played so far. So yeah, I guess we'll cap that there. Then this is going to be probably my game for the next few weeks until like Street
That's the
Fighter
problem. Yeah, if I buy it, and I guess Sam, you're not that fast, are you? But
yeah, I'm not as I can appreciate this far.
Yeah,
you're
I've
not
never
going
been
for
a
it.
Zelda person.
Yeah. I think it's such a massive game. There's no way I'm gonna get anywhere close to finishing it over the next few weeks. But anyway, it'll be what it'll be, or go on for 50 minutes every single time. But we'll chuck it along. Then you were saying how building off of Zelda, where you kind of start from scratch. You were saying what you've played, Will, that doesn't happen?
Yes, I've been playing EA Respawn's Jedi Survivor. I mean, it's not really a surprise. I said it last week, but yeah, this game basically it picks up a little bit after the first game. You're back as Cal, and it kind of it does what Sam was saying, where it's like you come back and you basically have your full suite of powers. You're like powered down a bit. You have to relearn a bunch of skills, but for the most part, you've got your double jump, you've got your most of your traversal skills as like baseline.
I think you had a double-bladed lightsaber in the first game by the end.
Yeah,
I think
you had three. You had the single, you had the two, and you had the double ender.
The Darth Mauler.
And I guess, this game sort of uses that as a starting point, and then goes off and just runs with it a little bit.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I've really, really enjoyed this game. It feels like they're angling for their own kind of God of War, where it's all they're telling like a more mature story. They focus very much on the characters, and it's. I guess I was really worried starting off playing this that it was going to be like, like a Star Wars story TM where it's like, there's a bad guy, he's being bad, and you have to stop him, right?
We don't like bad guys.
Yeah, he's got a red lightsaber and he's doing bad stuff, and you should probably put a stop to him. But it feels like, I don't know if this is like some drive from Disney. I imagine it is, but it's like, it seems to be everyone is telling a lot more like grounded stories, so that they're leaving the doors open for these people to like cross paths at some point. You know what I mean? And this feels the same way, where it's telling there's stakes to this story.
Yeah.
But it feels like a very grounded story, where it's not like, oh, we need to kill Darth Vader or he's going to destroy the universe.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing like that. It's like we're telling a little personal story.
It's hard to tie those things.
Focuses on these.
It's hard to tie those things back in, because it's always like, why did that character never talk about this if this is like such a big thing? Say this person runs, Cal Kestis runs into, I don't know, Darth Maul or some shit, and they have a big epic fight, and then big explosions. But it's like, why has this never been spoken about ever?
Yeah.
Like it's hard to because it's not like mainline. It is canon, obviously, but it's not movie important.
It has to like awkwardly fit around these two movies that were set, that were created a long time ago, and the creator had no idea it would have this kind of like longevity, right? So now that when they tell a story, it does kind of have a bit of that. Like the story starts on Coruscant, which is like, it's like a hub, and there's like you pulling off this like ridiculous heist, and there's like wanted posters. You're like number one most wanted person. It's like, it is weird nobody ever mentions this guy. He's kind of prolific by the end of this game. But yeah, so you do your little heist on Coruscant. It goes, I guess I'm not going to spoil the story. I'm going to do like minor mechanical spoilers and sort of set up some stuff.
Yeah, what is, all I ask, just not to spoil the story, but what is like the main driving force of this game?
It's kind of like, it feels like a middle story. It feels like a middle game of a trilogy.
Okay. Yeah.
And it feels like this whole story is kind of, it's like, how do you exist in a world where you're trying to fight this empire, but the empire is everywhere. It's across
so
the entire.
massive,
It's so massive. How do you begin to even? What can one person even do in the face of that? And I kind of like that angle. And then there's also this like, your kind of character Cal is like, it really doesn't make sense for him to keep fighting at this point, because it's like it's starting to get people he likes hurt, and he's realizing like it doesn't really seem to be doing anything against, because it's like, how do you carry on, because it's literally all he knows how to do.
That's the whole thing with like Obi-Wan, right? Where Obi-Wan was like, fuck this, I'm just gonna hide for years and years, because there's no way to actually realistically fight these problems.
Yeah, exactly. There is a lot of this almost feels like, if I was being cynical, I guess, this feels like what I was kind of hoping Obi-Wan would be, where it's like a self-contained story. Yeah. It's kind of like what he was getting up to. Like there's going to be people dipping in and out that you'll recognize, but it's not like we're going to go on this random adventure with Leia, right?
Yeah.
And then nobody ever talks about this forever again. Yeah,
well, it's right there in the title. It's Jedi Survivor. It's a Jedi surviving during a period I think is the correct time period, but all being like hunted and stuff, right?
Yeah. This is you deal. Yeah, this is. I think it's called the Purge. I'm not sure. I'm not big on Star Wars, like middle bits of Star Wars.
Live long and prosper and all that shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it nicely like. So it's like a nice self-contained story. That doesn't step on too many toes. I feel like. And the only problem is, I feel like your main character, as this feels like a middle game, your character, Cal, he doesn't really have an arc in this story, and I think that's the weakest part. Is everyone around him, the supporting characters, they all have their own stuff going on, and it's really interesting. In the first game, you kind of assemble this little ragtag like group, and then in this game, they're all scattered, and part of the story is like, well, what happened, and how are people dealing with this empire basically winning in their own way, kind of thing. And it's interesting. As somebody who's just, I feel like Star Wars has been, I don't think this is contentious. Star Wars has been on a rocky road recently.
Yeah.
I feel like most of it's been bad, and then there's a couple of good, and I put this in the good pile.
It's always like,
that's good.
Yeah, I feel like with Star Wars, I'm always like, Star Wars is bad now. Maybe I just don't like Star Wars anymore. And then it's like, oh no, I play something like Jedi Survivor or something. I'm like, oh no, Star Wars is still really cool.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Just a lot of it. A lot of Star Wars stuff is bad.
Yeah. So yeah, that without going too much into it, that's sort of the setup for the story. After last week, when I said the game ran really well, obviously the intro is sort of on rails and in a kind of self-contained little level. Like, it's still Coruscant, which is big, and very detailed, but once you get to you leave Coruscant and you go to this new world called Kobo, and that becomes like your hub, and you have a bar there, and it's like that's almost a sort of pseudo open world level. There's story missions that happen in it that are kind of more on rails, but for the most part it kind of drops you in this map and is like just sort of Breath of the Wild's you. It just like, just fuck about. I don't know, do what you want. Explore some caves and do some stuff. And it's crazy because there's so much side content in this game that I wasn't expecting, and all of it feels at least a little bit fleshed out, to the point where I almost feel like it's like, guys, maybe you could have cut the gardening space plants mini game and maybe made the game run a bit better, or like there's like so many little weird side activities, and I feel like they could have like cut half of them and then made the other half more in depth, because if it's weird, because I'm all here for it, right? I love a game. I think Star Wars is like this big universe that everybody loves spending time in, and everyone has their like, oh, it's my favorite lightsaber and all that stuff. So it's really cool that all that stuff is like, okay, the fishing, collecting fish for my space fish tank. It's not for me, but I bet there's somebody out there who's really fucking into Star Wars fish lore. You know what I mean?
This is the game for them.
So this is the game for them, yeah.
Finally.
And so I'm really conflicted on that, because I do feel like I spent 5 minutes. It was like, hey, you want to set up your space garden? And I was like, not really. And then I never went back. So it's like, kind of wish that maybe that didn't need to be there, but I don't know. It's cool.
Leave it on the cutting room floor, maybe.
Yeah,
they were saying how obviously this game generally has been quite well received. This is apparently one of the fastest turnarounds they've had for a game like this. Which I think,
development wise, yeah.
Which I think, I guess, kind of shows, right? Despite it being, still a good game, there's a few technical issues, but also when a game's done fast, design takes time as well. If a game doesn't have as much time in design development, stuff like that.
Yes, yeah. But this is all expanded. I think what they've sort of done here is like taken things that were maybe the grounds were there in the first one. Like I think there was, I don't really remember, but I'm pretty sure there was like a farming part of the first one with Fallen Order.
I don't remember. I don't remember that. It's been a while.
I'm pretty sure. I'd have to look it up. But I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it was on your ship, and it was like, "Hey, you want to grow a pot plant for your room?" And that was it. And now here, there's a whole, there's a whole rooftop garden. There's characters. There's quests based upon it, which is I don't know why I'm fixated on the garden. There's loads of stuff. There's a mini auto battler in this game.
What, really?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. There's every time you beat an enemy. Your little robot BD1, he'll be like boop boop, and you go, oh yeah, scan it, and then it gets added to your collection of like scanned enemies in this game, and then you go back to your bar, and there's a guy who's like, you want another fight in the auto battler, and you can use any of the enemies you've killed.
That's so weird.
In this auto battler. Which is really funky. Isn't that weird? Isn't that a weird thing to have? But it's cool.
That's so bizarre. I hope that the game kind of runs a bit janky because of some weird design decision, like because it's always rendering auto battler assets or something like that.
They had it was like they came in and they were like, "Sir, we can cut the droidicas from the auto battler, or we can add 10 FPS." And he's like, "You fools! What are you? It's not even a question."
Get the fuck out of my office! You know the answer already. The auto battler stays. That's so weird. Just saying that though. That's kind of like, oh, there's a card game in Witcher. Isn't that weird? But then it's just like everyone loves it and it's amazing.
Yeah,
kind of feels similar vibes. I feel
it is. It totally is. But again, it's one of those things where it's like the auto battler's there. But it's like and it works really well, but there's not. It's like it's over quite quick, and I'm like, I wish you'd flesh this out a little bit more because it's actually really fun, but it's kind of there's not a lot of it, and yeah, which is all the side stuff.
Get the game out.
Yeah, we're losing FPS by the second.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will. Yeah, so it started to not run as great. It was fine and it was playable on this big open hub world, but it like. There were parts where I was like, oh, you're asking for sort of precision here in this bit, and I don't think I can deliver just because I'm running at 30 FPS now, and it's
your PC is the unicorn build with a gimpy leg.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, open world. I wasn't expecting, because I think in the first game you go through a bunch of levels and then you do like return trips to previous levels, but with new powers, and then you have to do extra sections of those levels, right? I'm pretty sure that's how that worked. Whereas this is more like you're at your bar on this hub world, you go off to another location, do a little thing there, and come back, and everyone has a chat about it, sort of thing. Which I guess I was kind of hoping this would be more planet hopping.
Right.
Without spoiling too much, there's not a crazy amount of environments and levels in this game.
Okay.
And some of them are like you're exploring this hub world, and you're like, this is ridiculous. If every location is like this game will never end. You know what I mean? Like it's huge, it's gigantic. But then you go to other places and you're like, oh, okay, these are more like little on rails video game levels than big exploration sections, which I was a bit disappointed by.
I've got to ask,
and it does like Desert Planet again, which is like, come on.
Yeah, I was
Desert Planet.
I need to ask about the combat. The first game was somewhat tricky. It was quite a hard game. I can't remember what the first game was called. How's this one? Is it like any easier? Is it still? Because people were like, "Oh, this is the Dark Souls of Star Wars games." Oh my god!
All right, Steve.
Like that, but literally, people were
literally people. Yeah. I think the combat in this game is my biggest letdown. It never gets bad. I will say, like, all the way through, I never didn't have fun with this game. But when it was putting me through these like, especially late game, when it was putting me through these like bigger combat sections, I was like, I don't think this works the way you guys are hoping it works. It's kind of like what I kept thinking was poor man's Sekiro.
Okay.
Because it is kind of like you are rewarded for like deflections. So like, you know, timing perfect blocks. Every guy has a poise meter, and you break the poise, and then they're like staggered, and you can get a couple of hits in. There's no like insta kills on enemies that aren't basic bitch dudes. So it's not like you're breaking their poise for a finisher. It's kind of like you break their poise and you get a couple hits in, and then they go back to trying to fight you. But everything where Sekiro was like felt like really, really hard but really fair.
Yeah.
Where when you fucked up, it was like, oh, because I didn't deflect. I didn't read that guy's inputs correctly and stuff like that. Yeah. This is kind of like, it's just kind of wonky where it has this thing where it's like animation priority over everything, right?
Yeah.
So you'll be swinging and you'll be like, oh, I need to block, but I'm committed to this swing. Or you'll go to block and then the guy won't swing, and you'll be like, okay, now I'm gonna swing, and then he'll swing, and you'll be like, oh, fuck's sake. And it's like there's everything that hits you in this game staggers you. So it's like once you're in a room with like, say 5 guys with like melee batons who are all trying to wail on you, and then there's like they sprinkle ranged like stormtroopers behind them, sort of thing.
It's a bit much.
And it's just like every single thing. I'm like, okay, block, okay, block, okay, block, okay, now I'm getting shot at, okay, now this guy's going in for another swing, and I'm like, when was I supposed to get a go here? Because if anything hits you, your guy gets staggered in this like, oh, I've been shot kind of animation. And it's just like, this gets really frustrating when there's like ranged mixed with melee, and then there's like everyone has kind of powers and things. So like some of them will shoot rockets at you, which if in a perfect world you can like force grip the rocket out of the air and throw it back at them, which is like, that's rad, that's cool as hell. But when a guy is like beating on you with a stick, it's like, I don't know. I never got a chance. I don't get a chance to do anything.
Well, this is what like leads to scenarios where you end up hiding behind a pillar or something, like aggroing enemies one at a time, which is never what's originally intended. It sounds like that's whether that's like gameplay mechanics or not. It sounds just like sort of what would you call it, like encounter design. Might have needed a second go through just to be like, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
This room with 5 ranged guys and 5 melee batons, is this actually fun? Like,
I feel like it's more. I don't think the encounters themselves are too bad. Like I died once, and that was because I was responding to a Discord message. On a non-boss encounter, I died exactly once. So the game's not hard. It's just
a bit frustrating
because you have like you have so much healing, and your guy gets kind of tanky by the end. But it was just like, I feel like, you know, yes, it might look a bit jank if my guy can go from a swing to a block mid, you know, when I realize I've committed to a swing that I shouldn't have or something like that. But just like, it just feels like it's not there. It's not fluid. It's like, it wants to be Sekiro, but it doesn't have the sort of precision. I don't know what you call it. But
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, Sekiro felt to make so it work. Tight. Everything just felt so deliberate and fine-tuned to the frame.
And I will say, there's like when you're in a boss fight and there's like it's like 1-on-1. There's like bits where I'm like, this sort of, if you squint, this is kind of like playing a Sekiro boss. You know what I mean? Where I'm like, okay, block, block, block. I can get a hit in. Block, block, block. Another hit. I can use my force power here, which is like a stronger move, but it costs you mana, your force, and I'm like, it's close. It's all right. It's not bad. It's all right.
Do you like?
It never wasn't fun.
Did you like this game in the end? I'm kind of getting like mixed.
I really liked it.
Yeah, getting like mixed. Sounded like it's good, but it's just not blow your socks off. Incredible.
It's just I think generally, this is a fantastic game.
Okay.
Obviously, it's couched in like, you guys, I don't think it's Tears of the Kingdom good. Like, I'm not going to rave about it like you guys are enjoying Tears of the Kingdom. But if you like the first one, if you like Star Wars, and I would 100%. Because I think one thing I haven't mentioned is the platforming in this game is insane. It gives you so many mobility options that by the end it's like where it was like a poor man's Sekiro, it was kind of like a really expensive Celeste by the end.
No way.
with some of the platforming sequences. Yeah.
That's cool.
You end up with like air dashes, grapple hooks, double jumps, wall runs.
That's proper got my attention. That's really cool.
And there's like gates that you go through, which what was it in Celeste? Was it like the strawberry or something? And you grab it and it resets, or no, the little cubes, and you grab it and it resets your options. So you'll be like wall run, jump, dash, go through one of these gates. Now you've got your double jump and your dash back again. And it's
I like that. That's really
I was
cool.
like, this is really fucking cool. Yeah. Which I wasn't sure, I was surprised by. I went in thinking like, oh, I want to be a Jedi, and by the end I was like, I want to do more platforming.
Yeah, I'm playing for Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze by the end of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That's really cool. I had no clue it was that in depth with its platforming.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's really good. Hey, it's really good.
Well, I was supposed to play this a while back, and guess what arrived in the post today? It was a copy of this. So.
Oh, so you at some point.
At some point, but I'm just so into Zelda now. You had your chance, Star Wars. You're too late. The post got lost.
It's not a short game either. I'll say that.
Is it not?
Even
No.
I was like, I need to finish this for podcast, so I kind of mainlined the story after a while.
Yeah.
And it reached what I thought was like the end. And then I checked my progress, and it was like, yeah, you're at like 60%. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, fuck. Okay. It's like another 10 hours to go or something. Fair enough.
You got any like closing thoughts, or you want to chuck it over?
The finding beards and ponchos in ancient Jedi crypts never got any less weird.
Yeah.
But what's worse as well is some little side stuff will reward you with things like skill points or max health increases or force upgrades, and other times it will just be a new type of haircut, and you can't tell until you've done it which one you're going to get. So sometimes you'll do a super difficult platforming section, get to the end, and it's like, enjoy your new pair of pants, you fucking idiot.
What was this, like emotional manipulation or some shit? Like,
yeah, it totally is.
Look at me, I'm a box. I could be a really important upgrade, or I could be absolutely pointless. Therefore, you have to do me just in case. I'm really good. That's kind of funny. Though. The idea of doing a really hard platforming puzzle for like 25 minutes, and then you open the box and get some handlebar mustache or something is fucking hilarious to me.
I will say, I was kind of getting into it.
Yeah.
By the end, yeah. I wasn't ever like completely sold, but sometimes I'd get like a bit of lightsaber, and I'd be like, "That's pretty."
I love the fact that it's the customization stuff. If they're gonna do that kind of thing, at least they're going kind of out there with it.
It's so you can like the grip, the bit that's going to be covered by your character's hand for 100% of the game, you can completely customize. You get that's a spoiler.
That's fine.
Yeah, no, I won't go there. It's fine.
I just the idea of just if I spent ages doing a platforming puzzle and it's just like an afro unlock or something, that's worth it to me, because I'll chuckle at it for 30 seconds, but that's hilarious.
They know as well. Yeah. They know, because it's like I did a really difficult boss fight, and I got out, and it was like, here's a poncho. It's bright pink.
Yeah, I love it. I love that. Because if it's boring, if it's like, congrats for doing this hard puzzle, here's a new haircut, fucking short back and sides or something, I'd be like, oh, I don't fucking like. But if it's like, now he's got cornrows or something, or just like a big mohawk or whatever, like, I'm all for it. Just like make him look as crazy as possible.
Yeah, you totally can.
Yeah. I at first thought it was I still think it's kind of stupid, but I really thought it was pointless. But now the more I think about it, the more I actually kind of like it.
What weirds me out is the main character in this is, I don't know, Aaron really likes this actor because he was in a Batman show.
Yeah, he's a real dude, isn't he? He's a real man.
He's a real live real dude. He's a real life dude.
He's a proper dude, that man.
And like I said, he's kind of an I don't want to say non-character because I think by the end he kind of gets into his role. But I was playing through most of this and I was like, why didn't they let you just make your own character?
Yeah.
Because then I feel like all this customization makes perfect sense. If I'm making my Jedi, if I'm making my Obi-Wan, then it makes perfect sense. But when I'm just like, I don't want to give this guy a different haircut. Well, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, I don't care what he looks like.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird.
So yeah, Alex and Lewis are saying he was Joker in Gotham, apparently.
Joker in Gotham. That's it. Yeah.
Because it's like, I agree. If you're going to do this much customization, just let me design him however I want. You can still do a good story with a custom character. Like Mass Effect, you have canon male Shep and Fem Shep, but you can still make whatever character you want and still have a good story.
Yeah.
So just do that with this, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's very powy in this. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just a lot of brooding. It's kind of, didn't sell me on it.
But yeah, so solid middle entry to what I assume will be a trilogy then.
I would be shocked. This game apparently has also sold very well, so I would be shocked if EA is not already like, all right, boys, let's do it again. Let's see it. Let's see the third one.
So based on what you know of this story, you finished this. No context. Guess the name of the next one. Star Wars Jedi something.
Oh, Star Wars Jedi. It'd have to be Rising Revengeance. Yeah. Revolution. No, I don't know. Oh, maybe. Actually.
Yeah. Star Wars Jedi Revolution.
I'm going to guess Star Wars Jedi Extinction.
That'd be sad. That's a sad ending to the trilogy.
That would be pretty sad.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it starts, and then you
rise up or something.
Yeah.
Honestly, the worst part is knowing this all dovetails eventually into the sequel trilogy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like everything I'm doing, even though it's years in the future,
what's the fucking point?
It doesn't matter. And I'm like, what's the point? Eventually, Palpatine has returned.
All of this leads up to
what is it?
All of this leads up to the dagger shaped like a broken Star Destroyer.
Exactly.
And a cube. I think some weird hypercube shit. I can't remember that movie. Movie sucks.
Of my mind. I couldn't drop it. Yeah.
So Palpatine, final boss of the third game to cap it off.
I'd be shocked if he wasn't.
This game canonically will explain how Palpatine returned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The most important piece of Star Wars fiction will be Star Wars Jedi Revolution, starring everyone's favorite space wizard Palpatine.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move this along then. Is Sam still awake?
I'm here, buddy.
What have you been playing?
I mean, apart from Honkai Star Rail, that's still good. But
that never ends.
I picked this up a while ago, mentioned it before, actually playing through it now. The great Ace Attorney Chronicles.
Oh, yeah.
I know Josh does as well, but
I love games.
Ace Attorney. Ace Attorney is the pinnacle for me of visual novels.
Yeah.
I think if anyone is like, I like reading books, this is the game I would give them.
Yeah.
Because it's such an easy sell where it's basically just a book where you have to interact every now and then it turns into like a detective like game, and then it goes back to being a novel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you can play one. These games normally have like 4 or 5 cases. You can play the first case of any of the games, which lasts like 1 to 2 hours, and just be like, okay, I get it. Like this game, this is great, and I understand what this is.
And yet, despite there being like 5, like I'm pretty sure every game only has 5 cases. Maybe one has 6, but I think almost every Ace Attorney game has 5 acts.
Yeah.
They somehow like introduce a new system every act, like a gameplay mechanic or something.
Yeah.
So that once you get to the final act, it's like, right, take everything you've learned because everything that's happened in this previous acts, you don't know it yet, but it matters right now.
I love that when everything always culminates right at the end, and it's like, yeah, everything you've learned or thought you knew over the past 20, 30 hours of reading, you're like, oh my god, everything's just turned on its head in some way.
Yeah, like you'll be in the final act, and it'll be like, oh, you remember like Act 2? There was that guy that was sat at like the noodle shop called Jimmy. Yeah, he's now like very important in this bit, and you're just sat there like, what the fuck? But yeah. So, I mean, this game's incredible. I don't know how to sell it more.
Okay, so
but,
so fundamentally, what is this game? So, what is the overall sort of plot we're looking at? What do you do? What does your character do as you read the story? Because again, there are puzzle elements, but this is a story basically.
So I'm not gonna. I'll go over the basic story of how the game plays out, but I'm not gonna spoil any actual like plot points, for example. Because again, because it's like a book, it's like if you spoil a plot point, you now don't have to play the game. You know what I mean? Like what happens. The point of this game is to find out the story.
And what I will say is, compared to regular Phoenix Wright games, this is set in the past.
Yeah. This is set. I think this is set during industrial Great Britain.
Right.
Okay.
So
this is the real world. We're not in fantasy.
No. Okay, sorry. It is fantasy. It is like alternate reality. Industrial Great Britain.
Oh, is it like oh fuck, what was the Japanese World War II RPG?
Valkyrie Chronicles?
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So it's like that. Okay.
In this game, Great Britain and Japan have just signed a treaty. They're best buds now. You know,
nice.
Great Britain's trying to keep themselves at the top. They are the strongest power in the world. And Japan's trying to like get in on that, you know what I mean? You are a student who, like, it starts out as like your character doesn't know what they want to do. They're kind of just very, almost like stereotypically like they're going through education just to get through education and hoping that they find out what they want to do.
Yeah.
But your best friend is a like student of law,
right?
And he is this badass looking guy. Like he has a katana at his waist, and like we're at the stage where like you're not really allowed weapons, but like he's from a clan and is so important that he's allowed it. And he has to like Ryu headband, and it always floats in the wind, and your character will be like, how does your headband float in the wind? Like, how are you doing this?
I was going to say, I knew plenty of guys at uni who had katanas, and I did not think they were very cool.
Nah, this guy's awesome. But, yeah, so, like, he's like this guy where it's like, oh, he knows what he wants to do and what he wants to achieve in life and has all these grand ideas of, like, I'm going to go to Great Britain and I'm going to learn the system of law that's over there, and then I'm going to bring it back to Japan so that we can improve our like law system, essentially.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And things happen.
Yeah.
And you end up also going to Great Britain. It's called it Great Japan then.
Great Japan.
And you literally, I mean, the game starts out, I'll say this, the game starts out in every cliche Ace Attorney way, where the character that portrays you, essentially, portrays your choices, because you don't make your own character, you are playing as a character.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You're always the accused in Act 1.
Yeah.
Somehow.
You wind up somehow, you're involved with a murder or
that's
something.
how they introduce you, and then most of the time, it'll be like, oh, you have no lawyer, so you're going to have to defend yourself.
Yeah, probably should have mentioned at some point that you are typically a lawyer in these games. That's the...
So that's the build-up is your character wants to become a lawyer and... Well, a defense lawyer, I should specify.
Yeah.
And that's what the Ace Attorney games are, is you are a defense lawyer, and it's all about, like, you as you go on, you get to investigate sites, but at the start, it's like, you're in court. It's going to happen in one session. You've got to prove yourself not guilty. And then as the games progress in the acts, it's like getting a not guilty verdict is not the most important thing anymore. Finding the truth is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like how most of the stories go. It's like the truth is more important than the not guilty verdict.
It's never as obvious as it seems.
And then it likes to throw in some curveballs with that, which is always really good.
Yeah, Phoenix Wright games are great for just making it plot twists, making you think you know what's going to happen, and then being like, "You dummy! There was a secret wall here, and they threw a knife through the wall, but that wasn't even what killed them. It was actually a gunshot from 2 streets away." They're so weird. But it
has its moments where it can be a bit too silly. I distinctly remember one game you have to interrogate a bird.
That's that very first game, yeah.
It's a parrot. It's a parrot that mimics what it's heard. Right, so you have to say sentences to try and get it to mimic what it's heard, so you can understand what it's heard.
And everyone in the court is like, "This is fucking ridiculous."
So
that's really funny. I like that.
You're sat there like, there is logic here, but this is silly.
It's like video game logic. Yeah.
I think you have to interview an orca or a dolphin as well.
In one of them, I
of
think
course.
It's the third game or something.
But they don't do that too often. But the best thing is in these games, you either figure out who the villain is almost immediately, and you're like, right, how do I get from A to B, right?
Yeah.
Or you have no idea. And I mean most of the time, you have no idea who that actual killer is, like how it happened, and then like you genuinely, along with your character, start finding these things out, and you go, "Oh."
Yeah, the pieces start clicking.
Oh.
Is the gameplay in this one specifically the same as the older ones, where you have to cross-reference defendants and piece together contradictions?
Yes. So I think the best thing about this one is it, because they've set it back in an older time.
Yeah,
they've taken out all the fluff mechanics.
Okay, yeah, those games, Phoenix Wright towards like 5 and 6, they get pretty convoluted with different mechanics.
They have the newer Phoenix Wright games. The way to explain it is, when a game just keeps putting in that one too many systems, like game systems.
Monster Hunter.
Yeah. It's like Phoenix Wright is like, okay, we've got all the systems from the old game, but we need a new one for this game.
Yeah,
and then they just
I know what you mean.
doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like it's fine, but imagine if you just picked up game number 5, because again, in these games you don't need to play them in order. You could pick up any Ace Attorney game and play it.
I don't know if I'd say that.
You could,
but I don't know if I wouldn't do it.
No, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
But then you don't. Like, you pick up the game, you clearly see, Phoenix Wright, he must be the main character. You a little bit will go over your head, but they do a very good job of explaining what happened in the past.
I would say that if there wasn't a really easy way now to play the original games, because there is now, you can get the original trilogy on like Steam and stuff, and they play really well.
I mean, I would love to see you play these games, Will. So I said before you joined, I've always viewed you as like a book person. So
I have read a
nerd.
book. Yeah, you called me a
nerd. In my head, I just think that you would get a lot out of Ace Attorney games.
These games are great. I love these games.
I've been tempted, just because you guys keep raving it. The only reservation I have is like, a lot of people are like praising the story of like Star Rail, and I find myself almost within an hour of that game starting like skipping through cutscenes because I just can't stand the dialogue.
Phoenix Wright is literally held up by its dialogue and characterization because that basically is the game. There are puzzles and plot twists and this, that, and the other, but all of it is completely held up by the overall narrative, which is it's interesting, it's very well written, it's very clever. It's just
some of the names in this game
Yeah.
Like throughout all the games, whenever a character is like important but not pivotal, they always have like the most ridiculous names.
I try and sell it to Will with like all this cool stuff, and you go straight to the name puns.
Because the puns are so good.
I do like puns.
Like there's a guy and he's a curio collector, so he's literally called, like, instead of with C's with K's, called like Curie Corrector.
Okay.
And then
Yeah, I do
there's
quite like that.
a guy called Eyes and Noser, which is like eyes and nose, and then his son is called like Ido, or sorry, I know. So it's I know nose.
It's
I don't know.
I don't know. No, I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
And then, what was the last one where we had like peace, love, and understanding was his name, but it wasn't as clear as that. It had like a ton more syllables in it.
Yeah.
There's always absolute joke characters. Like in this game, I've got Herlock Sholmes going around telling me out.
Yeah, I've seen him. That's this guy. If anyone watching, that's the guy with a fucking gun.
Yeah.
Oh my god, fancy anime Sherlock Holmes.
No, he's not Sherlock Holmes. He's Herlock Sholmes.
Sorry, Sherlock Holmes.
And everyone keeps making the joke. They go, "Oh, he's German. It's Herlock Sholmes," rather than like Herlock in one word.
That's really funny.
And then like he gets really pissed off. But no, this game's great. It's very story driven. If you're not someone who is willing to read, because a lot of them, I don't think any of them are voice acted.
Outside of like key phrases, I don't think so either. No.
Yeah, which is always why as well. Like everything is reading, and then every now and then you'll just get the like objection, and you're like, oh, and the music just stops, and then you're like, okay, I need the music to come back on to know, like, are we in a good objection?
Yeah.
Or a bad objection?
Everything in this game is designed to punctuate the like key moments in the story, whether it's like a plot twist or just tension of learning more in a case or a case going badly for your side. Everything just works really well in these games.
The way they use sound and music,
it's really clever.
For what is just text is incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, the game's great. I'm through 4 acts now. I'm on the final act. I've said to Josh before, I have actually watched this game before, but only the first 4 acts.
That was a long time ago, right? Because this game was stuck in Japan for years.
That's why I said that's why I watched it, because this game, it was. At the time, we never thought we'd get this game over in the West.
Yeah. Well, Phoenix Wright is in the weird category similar to like Monster Hunter and stuff, where they started bringing them over and they were like, "Wait, you guys like this shit?
Yeah.
Since when?" It's like people have always liked this stuff. You just never. We've just been stuck in Japan.
Again, and Phoenix Wright again is one of those series over in Japan where it is absolutely beloved. Yeah. To the point where like Phoenix Wright is in a Capcom versus Marvel game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's Ultimate Marvel 3. He's in there. He's
in some like tactic games. Well, even so, like, he's a defense lawyer against like
against Spider-Man and Doctor Doom.
But yeah, the games.
Game slaps.
You could argue that if you've played one, you've played them all. But that's like saying if you've read one book of a series of books, then you've read them all, you know?
Oh, no, I've read one book and I've read all books.
Yeah, every book's. Galaxy Brain, I've absorbed all books.
Well, it's only there's only so many words, right? So once you've read one book...
It's like, yes, you know that there's a defense lawyer and, like, you think that, oh, well, it's a game, so you must always win.
Yeah.
No. You do not.
I would argue that if you finish one of these games, that's it, you're in. You'll want more of them because they're so enticing.
Because if you don't enjoy it, you won't finish it.
Yeah.
Because you'll find out very quickly, like, I can't really deal with the pacing. Or, there's just too much reading. But if you get to the end, and it's, again, another thing I say is the pacing is so good because you finish an act and it says, do you want to save? And then it fades to black. So it just gives you a perfect point to be like, I'm just going to put this down and pick this up.
Oh, but they always end on a cliffhanger, don't they? It's always like, we walked in and there was another dead body. Fade to black.
Yeah.
Do you want to save and quit? Like, I'll save, but I ain't going anywhere, mate.
No.
And it also, you can also just save anywhere. Which still blows my mind, because they've done it since, the original one was on a GBA game.
Right.
And like normally, you had to get to a save point to save games back in the day. And they were like, nah, just save anywhere, mate.
I played the original Phoenix Wright. I played on DS because the GBA version again was like Japan only, and by the time it came over to at least PAL regions, the DS was out. I think I picked it up in a game station for like 20 quid and played it, and I was like, "What the? This is awesome!"
Yeah,
like little Josh was so impressed. I loved it.
The Phoenix Wright trilogy is on Steam, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I mean, it is 30 quid for the original trilogy.
It's 30 quid. I do believe it goes on sale occasionally.
Oh yeah, it goes. I think the Phoenix Wright games go on sale a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. You might even find them on other platforms.
Yeah, you've got.
I should go have a look. Yeah.
The Phoenix Wright original trilogy, the remaster. I'm pretty sure they're everywhere. We've got it on
Switch and PlayStation,
we've got it on Switch. It's on like PlayStation platforms. I think it's on mobile as well.
It's not on Epic, but it might be on Xbox.
Xbox, I don't know. The Ace Attorney Chronicles, the one you're talking about, isn't on any Xbox platform.
No. The one I'm playing, probably only on Steam. As far as PC goes.
I think this is
there. Sorry, go on.
No, I've got nothing to say. You
go. Is there a good if I wanted to pick one up, is there a good on-ramp Phoenix Wright to play?
First one.
I would recommend the Phoenix Wright trilogy, because that is 1, 2, and 3.
Right.
So that's like 15 acts.
Yeah.
And it's probably about the same price as any other Phoenix Wright game.
Yeah.
So although you could be like, well, I don't really want to buy 3 games, I'd rather just buy 1 and see how it is. It's about the same price anyway. You get more for your money.
And also the final case of the first game is still, I think, my favourite case out of any of them.
Is that? Oh, that's Karma, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I would actually argue the second one.
Oh, okay,
the end of the second one. But the Act 5 is always a banger. And I don't use that term lightly when I mean it is always a banger.
Yeah.
Okay, it's on my wish list. You've sold me. Now I need to play fucking Zelda and Phoenix.
No,
Wright?
these could be.
Phoenix Wright isn't going anywhere.
No, yes, not going anywhere, and
That's
it's a mega slow burn as well. You could play it slowly as like an evening thing over a really long period of time, and it constantly chucks so many fun twists and turns and characters at you. You can play it for an hour and have a good time.
Ever one common argument about, well, not argument, but complaint that people have about Phoenix Wright games.
Yeah.
And they'll go, oh, and am I having a Phoenix Wright moment? It's where you're like investigating a place and talking to people, and like you can change locations, right, to investigate and talk to other people. But what the game wants you to do is ask someone a very specific question or present a very specific bit of evidence for the story to progress. And you're just sat there going, at this moment, I don't know what the game wants of me.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But it does always have that, like, oh, go talk to this person. They'll be like, yeah, maybe we should go talk to the person at the prison. And then you're like, okay, at least now I've got some direction. Let's figure out what I'm meant to do.
The only other issue I've had with it in the past is sometimes if you do get a bit ahead of yourself and work something out a little bit too quick, you have to still do a few like intermediary steps to reach the point where those characters would have that conversation. Whereas you're like, I want to ask him about this that I've clearly worked out, and it's like, but Phoenix would have no reason to ask that because he hasn't worked it out yet, kind of thing. It's very, very minor stuff in a very long series. But other than that, love these games.
Yeah, these games are great. I wish more people play them.
If people are listening and they've played Phoenix Wright before, a couple other good series, Danganronpa, really, really, really good series. Zero Escape series, also really, really good. Those are the next natural jump points, I feel, if you
I
like.
think they're a lot darker.
They're a lot darker.
Phoenix Wright has some dark moments, but generally it's almost got a very little bit of a comedic undertone. It's serious most of the time, but it's very
Phoenix Wright's
very light.
It's very optimistic, these games.
Yeah.
The truth always prevails, typically.
Yeah.
Very optimistic games. Yeah, what I recommended, similar games, but lots more murder and death in those games. But very similar in gameplay and some of the story beats, I would say. I'm so glad you're playing this. I will play it at some point. It's just I haven't, it's like you said, this is always there for me to play at some point.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
We should, next time there's a sale, like a big sale on it, Josh, we should both get it and then we can chat about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's specifically why I don't want to ruin any plot points.
Yeah.
Because, it's like being like, Snape kills Dumbledore. It's like,
whoa!
Wow.
You do lose that punch when you know what happens in a book.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
But yeah.
That's cool. Thank you for going through that, because I wanted to hear more about this game. I wanted to hear more about both the games you played this week. Really good, the Jedi and this one. I was really excited to hear about them.
Nice. It's nice to have a big game to talk about. I feel like I've been playing nothing but mini things.
I've played
for a while.
this indie game this week.
It's
just fine. Not hating.
No,
wow, shitting on indie games.
We're right at the end. Let's just go through some headlines really quickly, just to cross them off the list, so we can still claim that we're a news podcast, and then we'll do some upcoming stuff. One of the big ones this week was Amazon trying again at a Lord of the Rings MMO.
Yes.
They've tried this before, I believe, but their previous plans fell through.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think beforehand, this was like before like New World and Lost Ark, and this was before the Lord of the Rings TV series, and I think that's probably done well enough where they're like, oh, actually, maybe we could get that Lord of the Rings slice of pie, because the Minds of Moria as well recently tweeted out that they're
still alive.
They're still alive, and they're going to announce something at the Summer Games Fest. So here we are. Like, Amazon Games are collaborating with Embracer Group and Middle Earth Enterprises.
Middle Earth Enterprises.
Yes,
that sounds like a real business that exists in Lord of the Rings.
And I am excited. I just want to be an elf in a land of dwarfs and hobbits.
But you're an imp, though. That makes no sense.
I need to be tall. I need to be, tall and dominating over everybody else.
This is probably a bigger question than the end of the show, but don't you think it's weird, all these properties that take from Lord of the Rings, right? Mm-hmm. It's like the granddad of fantasy. So when someone's like, I'm going to make a Lord of the Rings MMO, and I'm like, isn't that just... That doesn't excite me anymore, because we've played so many... Like, I've played WoW,
Yeah. It's like I've already
dwarves and humans and elves.
Fantasy.
And,
seeing a dude in Gondor armor probably isn't going to do much for me.
Are your dwarves really good at mining? Are they? Wow, tell me more.
I can probably make a human warrior in WoW in some kind of transmog that looks like Gondor armor.
Yeah. See, I'm excited because the well of good MMOs is drying up, and I'm like, oh,
thank God.
No, I love MMOs.
I just think MMOs might be a dying genre.
Let it die.
I don't think that's true. I just think they're too expensive and nobody wants to put the money in. That's my hot take.
I'm excited. I'm like, I love Lord of the Rings at the moment. I love MMOs. I'm like, yes.
Saying that, while we're quickly on the topic of MMOs, WoW is getting hardcore servers, and that does actually kind of excite me.
Classic WoW, right?
Yeah.
Classic WoW hardcore servers. If you really hate yourself, go check these out. If you feel like playing an old hard game that could kill you at any minute and lose hundreds of hours of progress, this is the game for you.
Get disconnected and die while you're away, and then lose your hours and hours.
Thanks, Blizzard.
I just want to play it, and then I'll probably die, and then I'll drop it. But something about it is like I don't know why, I'm just excited for it.
I'm not hardcore enough for hardcore in any game. That's just like...
No, yeah, me neither. I couldn't do it. I'm not like Diablo's coming out, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, the only hardcore mode that I can kind of accept or get behind is the RuneScape one, and that's because if you die, you don't lose the character, you just lose the status of hardcore, which I can live with that. But the idea of like getting invested, and then it's just this dude's dead. It's like I can't.
Wait, you don't even lose the character. That's weak shit.
You keep the character. You make a hardcore Iron Man in old school RuneScape. If you die, you lose the hardcore status, but you keep the character.
Weak.
You're no longer on.
It is weak, but that's what that's what I am.
It's basically character deletion for the people that care, because you're no longer on the leaderboards or the scoreboards.
Yes,
I guess, yeah.
The only core I care about is Armored Core 6, and I don't care about it. So.
I've got no news for Armored Core 6. You're trying to segue me into something that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I was like, where are we going with this? What is this?
Speaking of Armored Core 6, here's an unrelated news story. Not much to say on this because we've done it to death, but with the whole update on the Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition, EU's fine with it. It's just us right now.
It's just us Brits.
It's just us, yeah.
Surprise. Us in the EU on two sides once again.
Yeah, it's just us eating our stale bread in this post-Brexit world. With no heating on. And now I find out that EU's going to get Call of Duty on Game Pass and we're not. Fucking
really?
Great. The panic in Steve's voice there.
I saw some wild takes on the internet about this where they were like, if this annoys Microsoft enough, they might just block Windows from being used in the UK. And I was like, you are out of what are you on bath salts?
I started reading certain comments of this to try and get like a wider opinion. And I came away from this news story after reading comments just thinking everyone is fucking stupid. Like no one knows what's going on, but everyone has their opinion. So now you're gonna so now thanks for listening, everyone. You're gonna hear ours right now. It's just people saying like, oh, they'll just do the merger, but they'll just completely pull out Microsoft from the UK, and it's like, you are insane. Like that. Like that.
Like, in what world do you think that's a thing that might actually happen?
I go to
gonna be real egg on our face if it does, though, huh?
I go to work tomorrow and suddenly Excel is just fucking vanished from my computer.
It's just gone. It's uninstalled. Well, not even Windows is gone. You can't even boot your PC.
You can't even boot my PC. Finally boot in on a Mac and I can't use the servers because Microsoft Azure has just vanished from England.
No, like Epic Games Store will be like, hey, we've got a new browser for you, like, a new operating system.
No, I think what's going to happen is there's just going to be more pressure from Microsoft and Activision just to try and have the CMA reconsider their original stance, because I've already seen some stuff about actual, MPs and UK politicians, including Rishi Sunak himself, being like, "What the fuck, CMA? Why Europe's doing it now? We look stupid. Like, why are we not?" Yeah. Because
all these politicians like, hold on, you're pissing off Microsoft? What the fuck? We didn't hear about this.
Yeah, so it's I don't want to put out another stupid opinion because literally no one knows what's going to happen at this point. All we can do now is wait for, I think, the America one. I can't remember the official grouping that do it in America, but there's the UK one.
The rest of the world.
Yeah, there's the America one, the Europe one, and the UK one, and it's just America left to make the decision.
It's exciting, isn't it? It's like Eurovision all over again. Except with video games.
And just like Eurovision will probably come dead last.
Will come last somehow.
So that's that one. If you want to find more information about this, don't, because comments on this are an absolute cesspit. Last final story, very quickly, is just an update. The world's worst kept gaming secret right now is Mortal Kombat. No Mortal Kombat game has been announced in any way, shape, or form.
So this is just a rumor?
No, because everyone knows it's coming, basically.
Do they? I didn't know it was coming.
Also, I think it was like a week and a half ago, they released a trailer of sand falling in an hourglass. And with this teaser trailer, they're like, "Oh, what could it be?" And everyone's like, "It's Mortal Kombat." It's like it's Mortal Kombat.
It's like it's the studio that makes Mortal Kombat and Injustice is teasing a game.
Yes, yeah.
What could it be?
It's not going to be fucking Shadow of Mordor 2, is it? But yeah, so the next thing we now know, supposedly, like heavily implied rumors and stuff, it's going to be a full-on reboot again. The latest teaser they showed was a clock skipping the hour of 12, which is what the next game would be. It would be Mortal Kombat 12, and it goes straight to 1. So it's going to be Mortal Kombat 1, and it's going to be another reboot. And I got really confused because I thought we just rebooted Mortal Kombat. So I was like, why are they doing it again? It's been like 12 years. Time is just horrifying. I hate it. I'm up for a new reboot. Sure, fuck it. Why not? As long as the game's good. I mean, Warner Brothers.
You didn't sound confident there, did you?
Well, Warner Brothers do really shitty, like microtransactions and like timers, mobile timers and stuff in their games. Did you play MK11?
No, but I heard that was the one that was like $2,000 of microtransactions on launch, right?
Really
or something.
Bad, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like full of content where it was like, pay up to see this. Here's a bunch of chests in the like open world-ish mode you ran around. You don't have the right currency to get in. Go get the currency by grinding this, or you could buy it. And it's just like I bought this. Yeah, yeah. Well, it didn't feel good. Is what I'm saying. And yeah, this is full on rumor. But the headline here as well is that apparently it's going to have Peacemaker and Homelander as DLC characters, which is pretty cool.
Fantastic guest characters, aren't they? Really, I can't think of. I saw that and I was like, I have no dog in this fight, but I will be mad if this doesn't happen.
Mortal Kombat's always done really good guest characters.
Yeah.
Can I just ask who? I know Homelander's from The Boys.
Yes.
Who's Peacemaker?
Peacemaker is John Cena from Suicide Squad. Oh, he's doing a joke.
No, I don't know who Peacemaker is. John Cena from what?
Because you can't see him. We get it. Yeah.
No, I don't know. Honestly,
Steve's accidentally making a really good bit.
I don't know what it is. What
he's from
show
Suicide
is it from?
Squad.
Suicide Squad.
He had his own show.
Yeah, that's why he's popular, because he had his own show. I haven't seen it.
It's pretty good. It's pretty funny.
No, I haven't seen it. I can't find it.
Oh my god, how'd I get got twice?
I didn't. No. My mum was legitimate. Josh
Fuck
is
you, Steve.
But yeah, Mortal Kombat in the past has had like Terminator, RoboCop, Alien, Predator, like tons of really cool.
I feel like they lean
characters.
on they lean on an era of films too heavily for me.
But they do that per game, and I think they do that on purpose. In Mortal Kombat X, it was like horror characters. I think they had like Jason from Freddy vs. Jason. They had Alien, they had Predator, and there's some others that I'm forgetting, but they certainly had a few. And then Mortal Kombat 11, the most recent one, was the like 90s action characters.
Rambo, Terminator,
RoboCop.
Yeah.
So maybe this will be an era where they lean into like TV like characters, which could be cool. I could get behind that if that's like an era they're choosing to go. I mean, I think Peacemaker and Homelander are quite recognizable.
Who else would you get? Like, I don't, because you have to run into like what property would be okay with them, with your guy like being in an MK game, potentially getting fatality'd or
Bryan Cranston,
or whatever.
Like Breaking Bad characters in there or some shit.
Bryan Cranston.
You could do like Game of Thrones or something if they're doing like TV characters. I don't know.
Game of Thrones? No way.
You say no way.
Jamie Lannister would be a fucking sick Mortal Kombat character.
That would be really good. Yeah,
I'm down for that.
You could certainly do that because it's Peacemaker's not a villain, right? Like, jokes aside, I haven't actually seen Peacemaker,
he's like an anti-hero.
Okay, so like okay, so that's like the thing then, anti-heroes, right?
Yeah.
I can't think of any off the cuff now, but that's a really cool thing to lean into if this is real. I think I quite like that. Yeah, those are the main news stories of the week, though. So those are the main wrap ups. What's coming out, Steve?
Okay, so on the just to recap from last week, on the 17th, which is tomorrow, we have the V Rising update and Starship Troopers Extermination, which both look quite good.
Start downloading V Rising. Yeah.
On the 18th, Thursday, we have a game called Mountain Core. This looks very much Dwarf Fortressy.
I should get back into Dwarf Fortress, man. I completely fell off that.
Maybe this is like something to get into. Then maybe
Yeah, put more money into it that I won't play. Perfect idea. This looks like RimWorld.
Maybe RimWorld. Maybe I'm not sure.
It's like a cross between the two. It looks like Dwarf Fortress gameplay with RimWorld aesthetics.
Oh, that is a RimWorld. Yeah.
Looks interesting though.
Well, that's very RimWorld. Holy shit!
Yeah, it's really like just the way the characters look that's totally RimWorld. I think they're thinner in RimWorld. They're not like these are quite fat characters.
Well, these are dwarves, so.
Oh yeah, I guess makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
Then on the 19th, we have the Street Fighter 6 online beta.
Oh, I'm gonna miss it because I'm away. Have fun, everybody.
Sucks to be you.
I'll say it again. If you're unsure about this game, full stop, this will be the best and by far cheapest way to work out if you like this sort of game.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out. 100% check it out. 8 characters. The original confirmed 8. Online beta. Just try it out. You probably get bodied, but that's the experience with fighting games. Yeah. Good stuff.
Okay, then we jump ahead to the 22nd, and we have a game called Inkbound. This is an online-only, turn-based co-op roguelike from the creators of Monster Train.
That's a lot of...
Oh, that was so many words.
Yeah. Yes. I forgot the first few. What did you say?
An online-only is apparently a turn-based co-op roguelike from the creators of Monster Train.
Oh, I should have just made Monster Train 2. No, I'm joking.
No, this looks kind of cool, actually.
Mm-hmm.
The colours are crazy, man. It's very purple.
Yeah.
Like, everything is purple. All that's purple there. The UI is all purple. Very purple. Kind of like it, though. I'm just not sure about the actual... I'm not sure about the actual game.
It's going on the list.
Okay, and then on the 23rd, we have Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun.
Ooh.
It's the boomer shooter.
Yeah.
That came out of nowhere, kind of?
Nah, it got announced ages ago.
Oh, I thought it got announced, it got a trailer, I think, like a week and a half ago or something.
Yeah, no, they did the annual, I can't remember what it's called, Warhammer Fest, and they announced it there a little while back.
This is cool. I love that grainy-looking chain sword.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really like the art style.
Big fan of that. That looks really cool. This could be alright. £17. Yeah, 23rd of May. I'll keep an eye on this. I still need to play. What was the boomer shooter that you played, Will? You said was really good. Had like combos and.
Ultra Kill.
Yeah, that is the one. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, Ultra Kill.
Still need to play that. At some
fantastic
point.
game.
Yeah,
the game's awesome.
I mean, to play that for ages. That's cool.
Okay. Yeah. On the 23rd, this is Epic Game Store exclusive. We have Star Trek Resurgence. This game I thought looked a bit weird, but I was like, it's EGS exclusive. So I was like, maybe there's something there. Looks like it's like a Star Trek story game.
Is that J. Jonah Jameson?
No, J.J. Abrams, Josh.
What, the Transformers man? I'm so confused.
What?
This seems to be there's multi.
What just happened?
I don't know.
Brain fart. Don't even worry about it.
But yeah, I'm not sure. I've not heard about this game at all, so it might be good. Especially if you're into Star Trek.
This looks a lot like the one. Have you seen the video of the co-op Star Trek game from a little while back.
I know the VR one, where everyone started doing weird
No.
shit in Star Trek VR.
That one, yeah. No, yeah, it doesn't matter.
What is this?
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. It seems like it's like there's like romance options.
Dialogue-driven role-playing with branching storylines, but then this guy's just shooting someone else. What part of that is dialogue? Is this like a scuffed
He's
telltale?
ending the dialogue.
What have you
his
found
gun.
here, Steve?
I was like, I'm kind of in a Star Trek mood right now. So like,
Look at this
yeah.
picture. The alien at the window, like T-posing, looking dead forward. Seal the door or let her in.
I was gonna say it looks deliciously scuffed in a way. So.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so next game we have is Convergence, a League of Legends story. This is the Echo 2D
Platformer, right?
platformer, yes. Looks actually pretty good.
Is League of Legends now like the Warhammer license?
Kind of. They've got it's Riot Forge, which does they will basically let studios use their League of Legends characters in unique stories.
Because I feel like there's a lot of these games coming out now where I was like, oh, it's cool. You know, League of Legends doing their own different games. And that's like, man, there's a lot of them.
Yeah, for me, it went straight from like, cool, I can't wait to play like a different League game. And it went right past that into, I just don't care.
I don't care.
Almost immediately. Yeah. And I don't know what happened.
There was that one turn-based one.
Yes, the Bilgewater one.
Bilgewater. That was the one I was like, that looks cool. And I feel like I blinked, and now there's like 7 League of Legends games.
And
I don't want to play them.
I don't want to play any of them.
We have the Ziggs Rhythm game. We have the Bilgewater RPG game. We have the Silas game, whatever that was. Now we've got this game, and I believe the next one will be the Nunu game.
Song of Nunu.
The
3D platformer. But yeah, and then one final game is it's called Planet of Lana. It's a cinematic puzzle adventure game.
Cinematic puzzle game, Planet of Lana.
I saw several people had this on their wish list.
Oh, I've seen something about this.
Yeah.
This looks kind of interesting. Oh, I like that. That's cool. That's a cool image. Anyone that can watching the video version.
That's the Star Trek. It's Death Stars.
That's a hot. I have to deconstruct that sentence. There are multiple things going wrong in that sentence, I think. I always get a sense of like horrific deja vu with these games. I just feel like I've probably played it already.
Mournful side scroller. Yeah.
Yeah, Limbo, Inside.
What was the one I played recently about aliens?
Yeah.
Already forgotten. The one that was on Game Pass.
There's just so many. It's like run left to right, kind of slow with some platforming, and occasionally something sad will happen.
Be sad, yeah.
And then
there's a cat in there. People, it's game of the year.
And then the whole thing will last about, if you're lucky, 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
No disrespect to this game, I'm sure it is very good.
That sounded like quite a lot of disrespect.
Yeah, no offense, and say like shitload of offensive stuff.
Yeah. But that's it for this week. The day after though, we got Gollum game, which I'm kind of excited for.
That's what you're excited
that's
for.
not coming out.
That's for next week though. So.
It's not real. It'll get delayed.
Yeah, it'll be on Game Pass.
Yeah.
That's a deep cut
XCOM
right
link.
there. Yeah, there you go. That's the trifecta of Steve
There
quotes.
was an XCOM like in this week's where I was like, nah, cut it.
You cut that?
I did. I was like, the joke's gone too far.
But you left in that weird Star Trek dialogue game?
Because that one was freaky.
You do the upcoming releases. You do you. I'm not in charge of you.
I am in charge of what is good that's coming out.
Yeah, it's
I am the arbiter.
I accept or deny any game that comes through. If it's not on this list, it's literally not real.
Remember game companies, you can bribe me to get you on the list.
Yeah, it won't even cost that much either. It'd be really cheap to bribe Steve. I think he's only interested in the Gollum game because he's hoping to get a key, right? That's all I hear.
If he says Gollum enough, it'll just turn up in his inbox.
Yeah, Gollum. Oh, here's your key. Fuck it. All right, we're done here. Let's get out of here. Thank you for listening, everybody. We're gonna do our socials and then get the hell out of here. My name is BottlerWorks on everything. You can find me if you want. Don't tweet much these days, but follow me anyway. How about you, Will?
Hello, you know where to find me. I also don't tweet much. I should fix that.
You should tweet. I shouldn't tweet more, but you should tweet more.
Mm-hmm.
Steve,
you should tweet more, and then I'll retweet you.
Oh, and I'll retweet you. It's just an endless loop of just two
it's
profiles that are the same. Go on, Steve.
Hi, I'm Steve, and I'm currently watching Young Sheldon.
Oh, that's sad. And Sam?
I'm still Sam.
Are you watching Young Sheldon, though?
No. I don't watch TV. I don't watch any TV at all.
I don't know how to segue off that. Bye, everybody.
Bye.